Kia ora, friends, and welcome to your favourite retro wrestling podcast, the Monday Night Chores. If you always dreamt of someone else watching the Monday Night Wars and telling you the good and the bad bits, then you've found the three right guys for the job. I am your host, Dave Mack, joined by the podcasting equivalent of mankind being thrown off the cell, Gareth Wadland.
How do?
And the podcasting equivalent of Chris Jericho falling off the blood and guts cell, Sam Wakefield.
So basically you're saying I'm the best thing to hit podcast in the last 15 years.
If that's the way you see it.
That's how I see it.
Dog gimmick didn't last very long, Sam, did it?
It doesn't stop moving, the fucking thing.
You see how professional Mongo would have been.
I was going to say, Mongo must have been like a dog controlling genius, or he fed it some kind of like drug.
Yeah. I'm pretty
sedative.
sure my dog would just freeze to stone in that environment.
30,000 people with
and
pyro
Ric Flair
going off in his face.
Him, didn't he?
Conan coming up and shouting in your face. Hey, how has your week been, chaps? What's been going on in your world of wrestling? Sam, let's start with you, because you're normally a bit of a downer and Gaz can bring it up.
Yeah. Well, I've started listening to Kurt Angle podcast with Conrad Thompson, but Podfather, as they call him. Yeah, really good. I'm quite addicted to it. I'm just busting through the episodes at the moment. But do you know what I thought was better? And there's only one episode out, the Jeff Jarrett one. It was amazing.
Jeff Jarrett one's amazingly popular. Like it's
really well, I think the hard thing is
for some reason.
Jeff Jarrett is like the people have called him the human fast forward machine, isn't he? He's like, no, he wasn't like, he was always there in wrestling, wasn't he? Come near the top. But he just comes across really well on a podcast. I suppose that's what it is. He's very good at telling stories. And the episode one was when he held Vince McMahon up for 400 grand before a pay-per-view, like 2 minutes. His contract expired. Yeah, and it turns out
China, would he?
Yeah, and no, he would. When you listen to it, he was going to drop the belt and he was going to do everything. But what happened is he'd been signed to a contract for $350. And he'd done a match, and he said to everyone, "See you down the road." But,
unfortunately, don't need to listen to that now, do we? We've had a pretty thorough recap there from you, Sam.
Actually, the podcast was 8 minutes shorter than that. Yeah, I added a few little bits.
Gaz, what have you done wrestling wise this week that is probably a little bit more condensed than that?
Well, don't turn the kettle on. No.
Put that light on. Put that light off.
This week, I've literally watched a couple of things for wrestling. I've been watching the Untold documentaries on the network. I watched the Rodzilla one about Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone with DDP, which was not that great. And then I watched Two Dudes with Attitude, which was hilarious. You should definitely watch it. There's a bit in there where Shawn Michaels doesn't realise he's got a mullet for about 2 years until someone points it out to him. It made me pop. Don't know why.
That's just drugs,
how did Shawn Michaels with a mullet not know he had a mullet?
Because he didn't know
what a mullet was.
Is Sam Wakefield the man with a mullet sitting there saying, "How do you not realise you've got?"
I don't have a mullet. Actually, I know what a mullet is. And about 4 months ago, I wanted to cut my hair into a mullet because it's quite long at the back and it's going
and short at the top. Mullet.
So I just said to him, "Let's just zip it. Let's just do a buzz cut and just keep the mullet." But she said, "No,
just do it."
Said, no, don't.
You're your own man. You're your own man, Sam.
You don't know what it's like here, guys.
Blink if you need help.
Shut up, you two. Seriously, show here.
Just storming at you in a chair.
Go and watch it, Sam. It's brilliant. Where he doesn't realise he's got a mullet until one of his, I think it's his girlfriend, points it out to him. Do you two realise you're bald? No.
No, okay. Just checking. What, this is bald?
I realised that years and years ago. It's just been
I'm trying not to realise it.
I say, do you realise you're going bald, but you're clinging onto your mullet?
Yeah.
I tell people my hairline's been like this since I was a child. Look at that. Look. Where does the hair start?
Oh my God, I thought it was Hawk or Animal from Legion of Doom for a minute then.
God.
Yeah, that's what it is. I've got a natural mohawk. You know, some people have a double crown.
The old natural mohawk look.
My dad was half Mohican. Last of the Mohicans from Big Naker.
Oh, dear. Right. Beautiful, lads. I'll be checking out. Well, I won't be checking out the Jarrett podcast because you made it sound a bit of a downer. But I will check out 2 Days of Attitudes because that sounds fun. So, not a good sales
guys,
myself.
everything Gus says is so great.
Because it is.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought we'd start with the home of Ted Turner, WCW Nitro this week. And we had the Clash of the Champions kind of special pay-per-view to cover. So I'll quickly gloss over the results there. We had Public Enemy and the Nasty Boys went to a double DQ finish. Dean Malenko beat Alex Wright. Brian Pillman beat Eddie Guerrero. And this is the brilliant match where he goes and grabs Bobby Heenan by his coat. And Bobby shouts, "What the fuck are you doing?" live on air.
Wait a minute. Wait. No. What the fuck are you doing? Easy.
Sting and Lex Luger unbelievably beat the Blue Bloods. Who would have believed that? Conan beat Psychosis. Ric Flair and the Giant, who he had on loan from the Dungeon of Doom, they beat Hogan and Randy Savage, who had Miss Elizabeth and Kevin Green in their corner. So, yeah, that's it. One thing I am surprised by, they don't mention much of Clash of the Champions through Nitro tonight, do they?
Sorry, going back a bit. Ric Flair leased the Giant, did he, off the Dungeon of Doom?
Yeah, he borrowed him for the night, didn't he? Do you remember? Like last week, he was like,
Do you remember talking about it and you said you'd ride him like a horse?
Yeah.
Quite possibly. Did he pay for him? Did we know what the trade was, like what the deals were? Just literally, can I have a borrow of a Giant?
Guys, you're a businessman. You know how lease works.
No.
Can you lease a window?
Sam, how does leasing work?
Basically, you come up to someone, you say, look, I want this car for 6 months. What do we do? And they go, oh, basically, we just give it to you. And then in 6 months, you just bring it back.
But what if it isn't a car, it's a 7-foot tall giant and you just want him for one night?
You got to pay.
Oh, fair enough. Right, Nitro, 29th of January, 1996. God, she knows as well. We are live from Canton, Ohio, and there's absolutely masses of pyro to start the show off. It's like Guy Fawkes night. Our hosts are Eric Bischoff, Bobby Heenan, and Mongo. Eric hypes the main event and describes the Giant.
He is the biggest of where the big boys play.
Was Pepe dressed as Dracula?
Correct.
Why?
Because Mongo.
Because that's the only outfit that he's got left now. We're going to start rotating through some others now, but
that's it.
Not the punchiest to start from the trio. I thought it was a bit lackluster.
No, there was a nice big boys play though after about a minute 20. It's always good to hear.
Always good to hear. Always got to have a big boys play. But we're talking to big boys. We kick off with the biggest boys going. We've got Hulk Hogan versus Ric Bloody Flair, haven't we, to open the show with? So out first, we've got Ric Flair, and he's got his lovely dusty pink robe. It's beautiful, isn't it? I
think that is my favourite Ric Flair robe we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's a cut above the rest, isn't it? It's just the way it hangs.
I've just had a flashback, and I watched Battle Royal at the Royal Albert Hall this week, and Roddy Piper does a promo. It's my favourite pay-per-view, so I knew about it anyway. I just watched it on YouTube. Roddy Piper does a promo where he calls Ric Flair a feather-wearing fucking freak.
Nice.
They bleep out the fucking, but yeah, it just reminded me, you fucking feather-wearing freak.
I didn't think he was a feather-wearing freak. I thought he looked beautiful in it. So, but weirdly, he's got Jimmy Hart with him now. So we've got this kind of crossover of the Horsemen and Dungeon of Doom sort of carrying on. So,
is it the Horsemen of Doom or the Dungeon of Horsemen or
the 4 dungeons?
Yeah,
the stable of Doom. Maybe because horses live in a stable, don't they?
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
I like that.
I'll just check out now. All right.
Log off now.
Guys.
You're not going to beat that,
the rest of the show, right? So I've crazily, you guys aren't going to believe this. I've contradicted myself.
What?
I know.
That never
Don't
happens.
fall off your chairs. So I've written here, Flair versus Hogan as an opener is just too much. If you were there in the arena, it's great. It's just too much to start a show. But how will we start the show? Well, we need to pace it evenly. Let's get the 2 biggest stars in the world from the NWA and from the WWF and let them have a match. Where can the show go from there? Can it steadily go up? And no,
get one man gang or something come out.
Then driving home just now, I listened to myself saying on last episode that I thought starting Nitro with a title match between Flair and Macho was brilliant, and I was absolutely fine with it. Start the show on a big show. So I don't really know why I think anymore. Is it too much? Do I like it?
I don't think you ever think. Let's just go with what your gut tells you. Weirdly enough, I do agree with you. These are two big names for my liking. You can't give this away. This is like beyond pay-per-view big. This is like biggest pay-per-view of the year big match.
Of course. It would have been WrestleMania headliner a few years
it's like Starcade kind of stuff, isn't it? So
yeah, it's got me confused.
That's Eric for you.
It would have been 4, 5, 6 years ago though.
It's still now, guys. Even in '96, it still would have done it.
It's big. No, I agree with Gaz. Like both, but then skip forward to Flair being in WWE, like 2002, whenever it was, like on his last run. He was amazing. All of his matches were so dynamic and great because I guess he was reinvigorated. But Flair here, it's like, he gets on his knees and goes like that. Then he pokes in the eye. Then he goes over and gets clothesline. Then he does his Flair. He's not. This must be the most unmotivated Flair, I reckon. So it's big on paper, but like that's shit, isn't it?
Yeah. You're saying
it's Sam, the contradictory machine that he is. He's just
Mr. Nitro himself.
Banging them all out.
Something can be big, but like Fast and the Furious franchise, I've never watched one of them films. And like what I have seen of them, absolute fucking pants. But I'm sure like...
So hold on, you've never watched them, but what you have seen of them.
I've never gone to cinema and paid money for a ticket, bought a DVD, or gone on Netflix and gone, let's watch this.
But you have watched one.
You've watched it.
I've seen bits of it on TV. It's basically absolute fucking tripe. But it doesn't mean that it's not a big franchise, does it? I'm trying to agree with you here, guys. Why are you doing me like that?
I'm just contradicting the thing you're saying now.
On this one, we get Hogan came out with his bevy of ladies, didn't we? We got Deborah McMichaels at the time, isn't she? She's Mongo's wife. Got Miss Elizabeth, Linda Hogan, and we got Woman, who totally doesn't come over as a face woman, does she? That doesn't matter. Straight off, we get Hogan's just overpowering Flair, and he's no-selling the chops and no-selling an awful lot of moves on the outside. Ric Flair works a lot on the knee, but Hogan makes a comeback as they brawl on the floor. Jimmy Hart gets a few cheap shots in, and Flair goes over again. But I do kind of agree with Sam. There's not a lot of much going on here. Hogan sort of sells a bit for Jimmy Hart, but not a lot for Ric Flair in this one. We get the figure 4 leg lock, which Hulk reverses to escape. He hulks up, he walks into an elbow in the corner, and Flair gets a backdrop suplex.
Jimmy Hart taunting. He's like a little brat in a zoo, teasing the gorillas.
I'm just so fucking glad he didn't use that analogy when like Harlem Heat were in the ring or something like that, or because it got me thinking like, yeah, it's okay to say that, like, stay away from these things. Be careful.
Don't turn into the king.
Like when what was it? Jim Ross recently said, about one of the female wrestlers. Did you see his? And he had to apologise for it. I thought she had a wardrobe malfunction there. And they said, yeah, I think. And he went, was that just wishful thinking? And everyone went mental on Twitter. And he had to apologise.
He's a dirty cunt, that bloke, isn't he?
Dirty.
I mean, I'm sure you've never said anything on anywhere near on par with that, guys, about a woman.
Not on TV, I haven't, Sam, no.
Not on
not on any of your nationally syndicated TV shows, are you sure?
No. I wrote it in my book about barbecuing, but not on TV.
Garthamania barbecue sauces.
Yeah.
You've spit roasted a few pigs in your time, is what you're trying to tell us.
Why are you so lewd? Right, Jesus Christ.
We said it was going to be different tonight.
There's a fucking going on! Elizabeth's shoe! Oh, no! He just took Elizabeth's shoe off! Oh, no! That high heel spike on that shoe!
Hulk makes another comeback and looks to finish it with the usual kind of big bootleg drop and stuff, but the Horsemen run in. Arn Anderson steals Miss Elizabeth's shoe. He gets Hogan in the eye with it, and 1, 2, 3, bish bash bosh. Ric Flair beats Hulk Hogan on TV. Who'd have believed it? After the match, Macho Man comes out to see if Hulk's all right and checks on him, and Hulk's kind of bladed and there's blood everywhere because, you get a high heel with the face, what's going to happen? But I've written, not for me. Wasn't enjoyable. I thought there was too much weirdness because Hulk, you've got Ric Flair who massively oversells and Hulk Hogan who sells nothing, and it just made no sense to me. And I'm not buying a shoe shot finishing a match. But I like seeing Hulk Hogan lose because you never see Hulk Hogan lose. So that's
Elizabeth I seem to have aged quite a lot. I've got no memory of Elizabeth other than sort of like really early, maybe 92 was the last time we saw her, was it? I don't know when Macho left, but so she looks a bit older. That's fine. We all age. Had she had some enhancements done?
I don't
What
know.
extensions in her hair or?
It looked like she'd had
Nails?
her teeth whitened, didn't it? Don't know. I don't know.
Dave-
Anyway,
Dave Meltzer. Dave
Hmm.
Meltzer on The Observer he's going in on Miss Elizabeth at the moment.
fuming.
He is fuming that she looks too old. She doesn't look good.
Too
enough.
old
She
for
looks
what?
like-
Too
You know
old
what
to stand
Meltzer's
next to a
like-
bald Hulk Hogan
it
and a
like-
bald Macho Man Randy Savage and a flabby-titted Ric Flair.
Let's be honest. Meltzer
Oh,
does it
Miss
nowadays.
Elizabeth.
Meltzer does it
Meltzer.
nowadays, doesn't he? But back in '96, he's literally was like, "There's no place for this Miss Elizabeth in wrestling at this time. She's
Is
got
he
to
really?
go. She will not go for
you
years
not-
yet." But yeah, he's very much like she looks old and haggard. Basically,
She
She's
is a
at the time.
beautiful, stunning
It's Miss
woman.
Elizabeth,
It's just we
man.
haven't
It's Miss
seen her
Elizabeth,
for
isn't
like
it?
7 or 8 years. So she's fucking aged, hasn't she?
It's like
And
when you go on
I-
Facebook and you see someone from school and you're suddenly like, "Oh, you looked a lot better when you were 16. You're not so good now. You're
Yeah.
nearly 40."
No, actually, to be fair, I
Do you have a
quite
daughter?
I quite often get inboxes from people saying that I've actually haven't changed. But I think that's just
Still a
in my
cunt.
DNA, isn't it? I mean, I said I haven't changed, Dave. So
Yeah,
that would stand true, wouldn't it? Why didn't they save Miss Elizabeth for Macho? Like the iconic vision of Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth together. Yeah, they just bring her out with like 12 other women,
But
and then
they're
with Hulk
divorced.
Hogan. Yeah, but surely is she not? So she is aligned with Hogan and only Hogan, not Hogan and Macho, not either way.
Ask Eric
God's
Bischoff. I don't
sakes,
know.
like she should have come out of Macho. She should have escorted him to the ring.
You should have come out of Macho.
Came out with.
Oh, sorry, I misheard.
What-
My apologies.
Gaz, what was your opinion on the match?
Oh, we've
You like
we've
Hulk?
said it already, but it's two old guys past their prime struggling to do anything apart from play the old hits, which is fair enough. But I mean, the ending with the bloody shoe, and when I say shoe, Arn Anderson comes out, goes to clump Hogan, who he's hitting before with the knucks. Hogan doesn't get affected by brass knuckles, chair shots, nothing. Shoe to the eye. That's it. He's down like a
It's
sack of
weakness.
shit. He is, isn't it?
Weakness.
I mean, you hit with Elizabeth Shue, and I don't mean Ralph Macchio's girlfriend in Karate Kid, but the actual shoe, the stiletto shoe, and it just, he's down.
The fuck
And
was that?
it's awful. It is awful, mate. I just,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't impressed. Was not impressed this week with that. For such a good, like, you see that on paper, Flair Hogan opening Nitro, and the fact it took up about 40% of the show, I think, for that match, I just didn't need it.
Maybe it's the context of it, because I was just saying like when Flair and I'd put Hogan in that in the early 2000s came back and Hogan did his red and yellow run. Flair had some cracking matches against, all the stars of that time. Maybe they weren't any better, but we were ready for the nostalgia then. It's a bit like something before it becomes a classic or a cult goes through that stage of just being old, doesn't it? Oh, that's just an old, like an Xbox 360 or a certain age car. It's not particularly, but then you wait a few years and everyone's like, oh yeah, they were fucking brilliant. But like,
Who are they wresting against though when like Flair comes back, Hogan comes to the gun?
Yeah,
against
exactly.
The younger guys. Who can
Yeah,
make
of course.
them
The
look
Chris
good. Yeah.
Jericho's, the Edges, the American Bad Art. Yeah, so that's it, isn't it? Here it's just shit.
It's just two old guys going at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think there was a massive build for it either. That there wasn't. I know they've been feuding as such, but there's no real. I don't really want to see them wrestle at this exact moment in time. They've not built me up to think, God, I need to see Hogan wrestle Flair. So it's just like we're throwing two big names together.
It also feels like we've been saying as the same 10 people.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen Hogan, Flair,
Flair wrestles so
Macho,
much.
Sting, whoever, like in all combinations a million times.
I mean, I'll touch on that later to do with Raw, because I think Raw are quite good at something.
But why did they have to do as well
older
18 and a half minutes?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. Did they have
That-
to do
well,
like
it
a
was.
15-minute? It was about, by the time they finished, it was about 18 minutes, 30-ish.
Yeah,
you
you're
were into
right.
the show.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I was like, how can these two guys who've got a very limited moveset, obviously two legends in the business, but in 1996, they're past their prime. Why get them going out and facing each other for 20 minutes nearly of a show? It's not needed.
Yeah, people aren't ready for it. But our opener should be cruiserweights or an energetic tag team,
Dean Malenko
shouldn't it,
and
or
Benoit,
something.
isn't it?
Get them out, get everyone going rah, and then going ooh.
We switch to the start of Raw. We get an opening package telling us we'll see the 96 Rumble winner Shawn in action against Yoko Ono. We see Big Van Vader attacking Gorilla Monsoon again, which was still amazing. And we're going to get the British Bulldog versus Diesel. And Billionaire Ted is here. Oh, even though they've been threatened with legal action.
Despite the threat of legal action. I like that as well. Yeah.
Billionaire Ted again. But, we are taped from Stockton this week, and our hosts are Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler, and we've still got the Raw Sex Band with Doc Hendricks being a bit of a tit dancing around, so that's a good thing. Straight off, we're starting with the Bulldog and the British Bulldog and Diesel, and Vince tells us the Bulldog is a powerhouse. So looking forward to a quality match here. One of the two dudes with attitude is coming out, and apparently Diesel is unhappy at the moment, and he gets a bit of sort of farty pyro goes off. It's a little bit of off the ring posts, but it's not
I
quite
thought he had
WCW
huge
standards.
pyro.
No, I thought it was a bit.
Pyro
I've got
was
to agree with Sam, I'm afraid, Dave.
crazy,
I thought he had all
Dave.
the pyro,
Really?
mate. It looked like he had all. Okay.
I don't know
Raw.
how. Yeah.
Well, I watched the opening of Nitro, and that looked like Guy Fawkes.
Okay, that's
This
the
looked
problem.
like a Spartan.
You look at Nitro, the pyro is much better, but for Raw, I think they use everything up on Diesel.
And he's all uptight about it. Why don't he take out those frustrations on Shawn Michaels? Well, he's likely to take him out on the...
Diesel, he starts off, he's quickly throwing elbows in the corner, and Bulldog takes him down and goes to work on the leg. He pounds away, and Yokozuna joins us at ringside as we take a break. Bulldog, he continues with some clubbing forearms while Diesel sells the leg and he bows to the floor. Did you notice, I noticed when he was outside on the railings, there was someone that had the big boys don't play here, the real men are here on Raw sign.
Oh,
That's a big sign.
Yeah, it was on the actual railings, so it like took up like the whole thing down there. But yeah,
It's like having a sign saying some people might like WCW, but I personally prefer the style of WWF and the talent, and I like the colour of the ring ropes.
Pretty much, though. Yoko chucks Diesel back in. Diesel makes a comeback with Snake Eyes, but Yoko manages to sneak in amazingly because the referee doesn't see him. He accidentally drops a big leg on the Bulldog, allowing Diesel to get the pinfall after 8 minutes and 13 seconds. Ooh. I thought this was really boring. I thought there was too many rest holds, and British Bulldog's really boring. His matches,
but Diesel's boring though.
Yeah,
what's Diesel? Diesel's got clotheslines, knees, back elbows, and a jackknife. That's again his entire moveset.
Black gloves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've now just settled on the fact that British Bulldog in 1996 is the enhancement talent for the top tier, isn't he? Yeah, not a bad place to be in, but he's not the British Bulldog with the braids who was almost world champion level. He's just the guy to wheel out to give a solid kind of, and he's a name. He's still got some name value left, hasn't he?
Yeah, because didn't he beat Bret Hart in like 92?
I don't know about
years
that.
Ago.
Wembley.
He was half decent 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's hang on to that.
Okay, Dave. Look at this fucking pyro. Hang on. Oh no, I can't do my phone.
All right.
Oh, it's not. Look at all that.
For Raw, that's quite a bit of pyro.
Yeah, well,
Dave made it sound like it's just a couple of sprinklers and sort of a little puff and a wheeze. Oh, look, my phone. It's a lot of pyro, man.
Fair enough.
More than I fucking get at the opening of this show.
Well, if you turned up on time, you'd probably get some.
Can't do it. I won't.
If we switch to Nitro, we get a promo for WCW Saturday night, and we have the
I thought I was going to talk about Diesel and Davey Boy.
Oh, do you want to talk about Diesel and Davey Boy? Sorry,
I don't want to. You just glossed over it. You just glossed over it now. Don't want
Sam
to now.
prattling on, wasn't it? So.
Let's hear your little opinions, guys. It might be funny.
No, don't want to. Nope.
He'll do it. Go on.
So on Nitro, what are we up to?
What do you think about Diesel and British Bulldog match, guys?
Don't do a Sam and then tell us.
I can't now. I didn't know whether or not. I just got confused. I thought we were talking about the match, and then we just gone straight over to Nitro.
He moved on very quick, didn't he?
He did, didn't he?
No, oh no, we're not talking.
Yeah, okay.
Don't take it that way, Sam.
Okay, let's go. Nitro. Faces of Fear.
Oh, I feel like we've missed out on something now.
Yeah, I feel like Gaz
this could be your moment.
Do it. This
I've
could have
already
been the
had
best
loads
bit
of
of the
moments,
podcast.
mate. Nah, definitely not.
So,
Come on.
go on. Read your notes out,
No.
Gareth. Go on.
No,
We're
I
not
don't want
moving
to.
this show on, guys.
No,
until
we'll
you
We're sitting here
fucking
for a
well,
long time then.
all right, okay.
We will be regardless, won't we? I've got time. Have you got time, Sam?
I've got fucking all the time in the world, boy.
I've got all the time in the world for Gareth's opinions.
It was at this time Gareth had a small diva-like moment. He acknowledges that his words and actions were not befitting of an international podcaster. His opinions on the Diesel and British Bulldog match are important. However, at the Monday Night Chores we would never condone the action of walking off during a recording mid-show, as it would undermine our roles as wrestling journalists. After a short break the air was cleared and Gareth vowed to never mention the Diesel and British Bulldog match again.
If we switch to Nitro, we get a promo for WCW Saturday Night, and we have the Faces of Fear versus the Road Warriors, who we've recently returned. We get the Road Warriors come out, and Eric tells us...
where the big boys play!
Eric says...
Get about it, Vince! Get a jab and a piece of power, buddy!
Yep.
Shots fired from Eric Bischoff there.
Oh, because that's what a multi-millionaire who's failed venture will go, dominoes then. I think there's some sort of stages in between. I don't know, maybe not.
Just live off your millions. But I was also quite impressed because Bobby makes a bit of a guff. He keeps calling them the Legion of Doom all the time.
Well, lock up the dogs, lock up grandma, lock up your valuables. The Legion of Doom is in town.
The crowd keep chanting LOD, don't
LOD,
they, as well?
yeah.
They're LOD. They've got the
Yeah,
WWF stamp on them.
They are, yeah. Can't put them in blue and go, Road Warriors
blue
now.
as well. It's just not. It's not right, is it?
What's crazy with this is you think they're, again, about 6 years past their prime. And then what, we're going to see them later on this year, next year again, back in WWF?
No, LOD 2000 with Sonny, yeah. And they have a bloody good run as well, I think. New Age Outlaws, the Attitude Era.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
crazy.
You can kind of change it up.
Yeah, because you're in an era where, like at the moment, you've got to really work hard to make things work. In the Attitude Era, you're in that magic arena of Raw, and everything.
Aces are wild. Anything works.
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Yeah, it is. The guys who in '96 sucked balls. All of a sudden, they didn't get a Road Warrior pop here either, did they? Fame, like as they call it.
Yeah, again, I wasn't a massive fan of this one. We start off with Animal attacking Barbarian, but he walked into a big boot and the heels took over. We get Hawk takes a pile driver and he no-sells it, and that's his kind of git thing, isn't it? But I'm not a big fan of this. Eric tells us again,
WCW, where the biggest boys play.
Faces of Fear work over Animal's back for a bit, and we get a kind of drop kick for a 2 count. Barbarian goes for a power bomb for a 2 count. He then goes up for a flying clothesline off the top. They completely blow the spot, so they just immediately repeat it for a second time, and Animal catches him with the clothesline this time to counter it. It's hot tag to Hawk when he cleans house, but Meng breaks up the Doomsday device. They then kind of muff up another spot where Barbarian is supposed to pile drive Animal and have it broken up by Hawk, but Hawk was miles away, so they just do the spot again with Hawk hitting a flying clothesline to get the finish after 9 minutes and 1 second. I've got this as bad. The constant repeating of blown spots for me is an absolute wrestling pet peeve for me. Like, if you don't get the spot, fine, move on. Don't just immediately jump up and do it again. It just looks stupid. So,
Gaz,
I didn't enjoy it.
Gaz, what did you think about this match?
My thing with this one,
if we switch to Raw,
when we go to Davey Boy versus Diesel, right, on Raw, and then compare it to
reminded me of a match.
Meng and Barbarian versus LOD. No, with what I thought with this is Legion of Doom or the Road Warriors need to come out, look big and scary and tough, and squash someone or beat the crap out of someone. That's what they need to do. Not have a 7 to 8 minute
device.
Not have a 7 to 8 minute plodding match with bloody Meng and the Barbarian, who did though have nice headbands and cape combos to start the match. They looked nice coming out. But yeah, that's what they need to do. Why are you letting these guys do? This is the sort of thing that happens. They don't.
It's like Public
work.
Enemy, wasn't it, the other week, where Public Enemy come out and we expect them to wrestle a proper match for 8 minutes.
It's like, Gareth, you've been reading my notes, because why bring them out and put them against American males and destroy them, or just get 2 enhancement guys, bring Disco Inferno and Alex Wright out again, let them start off, let them rush LOD, and just destroy them, obliterate them. Instead, they put them against 2 guys who don't make them look big because they're just as big, don't make them look strong, and then also the whole match is just plodding and slow. because
scruffy as well, wasn't it?
it's just huge, big powerhouse guys going against each other.
Ultimately,
I was bored, and it should have been a squash match, not a plod match.
Didn't we just
12
want to...
minutes that went on for.
Didn't we just want him to come out, do the Doomsday Device, and watch him scream a bit?
And they didn't even do a Doomsday Device. They did a counter to a sunset flip where he just jumped over him and did a clothesline. Yeah, it was a really shit way. There should have been so much excitement around these guys.
Do you think they just thought Legion of Doom rehashed as the Road Warriors, they'll just get over regardless?
I don't know what they were thinking. I think it should have been a case where their opponents were already in the ring. They rush in, do this, take their spikes off, and like you said, just fucking take their heads off and go.
Yeah, I'd have been happy with that as well.
They didn't. They had a 12-minute for huge big men.
Nitro's making me quite sad this week because it's all the guys you watch from your youth who are the big stars, your Flairs, your Hogans, your Legion of Doom, just looking old and sad and not able to do it as much anymore as they could. And it's a bit depressing.
Their tagline shouldn't have been called "Where the Big Boys Play." It should have been "Where we kill your childhood."
It's the
I guess I could see why they might not want to say that.
We ruin your dreams.
Yeah, come here and we'll piss all over the late 80s WWF.
If we switch back to Raw, we have Doc Hendricks again doing some more dad dancing with his Slam Jam. He gives a rundown of the upcoming In Your House pay-per-view. We hear from Bret Hart, who says once upon a time he respected Diesel, but he doesn't anymore. He then says...
He talks about how the World Wrestling Federation was run and driven on Diesel power. Well, that's not the case. It's run on Hitman power, Diesel.
That joke doesn't work. The Diesel power.
He tried. He was trying.
If he was called Bret the 4-star unleaded.
Exactly. Yeah, 2-stroke Hitman Hart. You know.
Yeah. Bret the electric Hitman.
Exactly. Fucking should have changed it up. But, he keeps saying Diesel getting involved in his stuff.
Well, Diesel, let's settle things once and for all. A 15-foot high steel cage match, the most dangerous match in all of wrestling.
So they have a cage match. He's never lost a cage match, and he calls Diesel,
"You big dummy," because the excellence of execution is going to wipe you out.
That was great, that big dummy, because that was almost like he went, "Bring everything you've got, you big dummy,
you bloody idiot."
Yeah.
You prat.
Yeah. What can I say?
Doesn't want to swear because his mum might. What you?
Yeah,
bloody
exactly.
Willie.
How though? Your mum and dad tell you off, innit, and you don't want to swear at them.
How badass did Bret look with a black eye? I thought he looked quite hard with that black eye.
Yeah, but the promo didn't match that though.
No, it didn't. No.
The only thing sexier than that is seeing your missus with a black eye.
Jesus.
Anyway, we have
first ever Crybaby match. That's right.
Between Razor Ramon and 123 kicking up, where the loser will be fed a baby's bottle. Who would put a baby's bottle in their mouth? Razor Ramon had a baby's bottle in his mouth last week.
This happened on this show.
Crybaby.
No, they're coming.
No, they're having it in your house.
In
they're
your
having
house.
God for that.
Crybabies match. So.
And you got to wear a diaper. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
infamous Crybaby match.
Should have put Yokozuna in it, then the joke would be on Razor, wouldn't it?
Yeah, what? Yeah. Yeah.
So he already wears a nappy.
Do you not think again with Raw, they're kind of taking 2 steps forward and about 17 steps backwards?
Yep, 100%. That's what I thought.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going for the cool new generation, then we're having a Crybaby match.
Yeah.
It's like they don't watch their own product of how terrible.
And the loser has to get talcum powdered on the bottom by the winner.
But then, like, we have this rose-tinted view of the Attitude Era. Well, one of the most famous matches of the Attitude Era was where Owen Hart broke Steve Austin's neck. Do you remember the stipulation of that match?
Was that the break your neck match? Beat me
no, the loser would have to kiss the other man's ass. Like, and there was a lot of shit in the Attitude Era. Like, we're going to see.
Yeah, there was.
It must be like, they can't
like
get started. I don't know.
Yeah,
Brian Pillman had to wear a gold dress for like months on end. There was loads of shit. But it's just that everything else around it was so good, it was kind of okay.
But you've got to remember as well, like what we're watching at the moment, like a Crybaby match. It's just been, we've just set up to that by having our champion called Diesel a dummy. I mean, it is so woolly and soft. There's nothing edgy about this product at all, is there? So
no. I mean,
like one week we had like Goldust like a couple of weeks ago. Is this like effeminate, transgender person
wannabe,
getting beaten up outside in this really
and then
kind
Diesel
of cool
cutting that promo.
Yeah, and then now we're back to we're having a crybaby match, and you're a bloody rotter. It's so weird. It's really jarring. They go backwards and forwards. That they're not going.
You've got. I guess you got to cater for everyone because it'd be too much of a short, sharp shock for the guys who actually like this crap. It's like, have you ever been to a wedding? And there's a finger buffet there. Have either of you been to a wedding before? Do you know what a buffet? Anyone had a buffet?
Didn't get invited to yours, did we?
A buffet.
No. And we have Duke the Drumster Drowsy versus Triple H. He then bangs on about Billionaire Ted segments being threatened with legal action. He gets a bit serious about this, but good God. Billionaire Ted is out here for his press conference. We get the Nacho Man and the Huckster with a Zimmer frame. They're getting asked loads of questions by some sort of pretend journalists saying, why is he trying to put the WWE out of business? Does he deliberately try to undercut the WWE? Why did he put his show on at the same time as Raw in a bid to deliberately hurt the WWE? This is so cringy. It's terrible. One reporter says he doesn't really care about the fans, does he? Then Huckster pipes up saying,
it's in my contract with Billionaire Ted that I never lose. Yeah.
I quite like that bit.
Yeah, I mean that was a highlight of a very low promo. He then says that the one thing he wouldn't do to put WWF out of business is use his own money. And everyone's shocked. Easily the worst Billionaire Ted segment we've had yet.
It's just like, we don't even need to say that much about it because I think Gaz totally hit with Gaz hit the nail on the head last week, just saying that it wasn't witty satire. It was just an angry millionaire who he's like a bully in the playground, and now there's another sort of big kid, and he's just like going, "Well, your fucking shoes are cheap," and like the only thing that makes me laugh is now Vince McMahon is trying to act like the WWF is this mum and pop operation of like we're this privately owned little like trying to plucky little. When they started doing WrestleMania, WCW had Starrcade, and when they put Starrcade on, I think that was why Vince came up with the idea of Survivor Series, and they put it directly opposing Starrcade. I might have a pay-per-view wrong on WWF side, but the theory, the story is the same. He put a directly opposing pay-per-view right next to it to try and hurt their numbers, like NXT and AEW. And then, so any stations that were going to run both or run WCW, Vince McMahon basically said, if you choose to stay with Starrcade, we will not give you WrestleMania. WrestleMania was a huge thing. So he was playing everything he said everything he'd done, like all the territories he put out of business.
Yeah, he ran them all out of business, didn't he?
Don't get me wrong. I know that, like, I've read enough stuff that says Vince gave a lowball offer to buy him out. But it's the same as when they're going to build a motorway through your house, isn't it? And they go, well, we'll give you 60 grand for it. What's the alternative? Well, we'll just fucking bulldoze it down. So Vince did that, and he did that after he'd taken Hulk Hogan and Hacksaw Jim Duggan from the AWA, after he'd taken Macho Man and all these other guys. And now all of a sudden, because he can't get the upper hand, like, don't bitch about the same bullying tactics you've used a few years ago. But that is all I see the Billionaire Ted skit as.
Yeah, it's too much of just Vince's own issues.
Yeah.
This was a crappy 10, 15 minutes, wasn't it? You had that Bret Hart promo followed by the bloody Crybaby shit in your pants match, whatever it was, followed by this. It's just, you're trying to push that new generation. We've got this younger generation, and then you're just going backwards with this crap. It's
look at this shit.
Awful. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a wrestling fan out there, then or now, who would find this good.
No, the Billionaire Ted stuff, there's no one out there that's watching that going, ha, 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 that's like, hilarious. This is just Vince McMahon doing what Vince was doing.
We can say some people like comedy, some people like big guys, some people like high flyers. This doesn't fall into that category. No one likes this. Like, I always think it's like Spitting Image or some bullshit a lot on that level, isn't it? Well, no, Spitting Image was clever.
It's not even. It's not even good. That's the thing. It's not even.
That's
good
not
satire.
clever. No,
It's like, no, it's just not.
it's petty and vindictive, is what it is.
Well,
and
it's like
just,
it's like someone who doesn't like you doing an impersonation of you. It's not going to be.
no.
Oh, I'm sad. Works.
Sam who?
My mate Sam. Saw him this week. I helped him out. He had a new microphone, and I wanted to sort it out for him. He bought a new car the other week. Really good bloke.
Oh, is this your Billionaire Ted skit bit? You're going to have your missus walk out in a grey dressing gown now, going, "Oh, no,
Plod around. Get the children
Punch you in the face.
Get the children to come down and be really grumpy.
Yeah.
If we switch to Nitro, Mean Gene is with Hugh Morris and Kevin Sullivan. Mean Gene asks what's up, and Sullivan says he has a problem.
Arn Anderson gave me his word.
And he thought that Arn was going to be legit, and we get some replays from last week, and Mean Gene says,
You take a look at what happened. Actually, he's the voice of reason, in my opinion.
but Sullivan doesn't seem to agree with that. This means that Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman come out, and Anderson looks absolutely amazing in his suit. The Taskmaster tells Anderson to
Keep your word with this loose cannon. You either discipline him or suffer the consequences.
Anderson kicks off at Brian for not being there when Rick got beaten by Hogan earlier. Arn says,
There's a thing in this world called tough love. That's all that's left. Do you understand? But on this case, it's going to hurt you more than it does me.
but Sullivan and Morris attack Arn instead, leaving Sullivan starts whipping Pillman with the belt on the outside, which I thought was pretty shocking compared
It
to
made
quite
no
a lot of
sense,
what we
did
see.
it?
Well, then Pillman ran away.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love Pillman cowering under the ring.
What in the world? Kevin Sullivan taking advantage of an opportunity here. Come on, goes after Anderson and Pillman hiding like a...
Like the little whipped pup. But hang on, let's let Gaz say his stuff first, because otherwise he'll have a patty. What did you
So
think?
you know when Davey Boy wrestled Diesel,
Yeah.
there was a bit in that where I thought, why does he
Yeah.
keep calling him Big Daddy Cool? Does he have to keep calling him Big Daddy Cool Diesel all the time?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Do you think Sam was like saying Cat the Dark Crystal?
Are you calling me a moomin? Oh no, that was something different. Yeah,
It's
no,
the
maybe.
Moomins.
Moomin?
No, they all had little. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll go
Could
back
be, yeah.
because people don't want to see this close up.
No.
So anyway, now to make some actual valid points.
I thought this was typical of the Four Horsemen and Dungeon of Doom segments of Anderson and Pillman looking really good, Kevin Sullivan looking really bad. It's just a weird pairing I'm finding at this point. that
this segment could have been good.
I don't understand. We've got this really ultra cool Four Horsemen group, and we've got this kind of Dungeon of Doom group of freaks, and it's not working for me.
And where's Hugh Morris just come from? So we've got a man whose wordplay is on humorous, and he just giggles and goes hee 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 because he's called humorous. Kevin Sullivan has a little bit of mic time on his own before the Horsemen come out. He fails to make any sense or hammer home any kind of a point about anything he's talking about. He doesn't like Pillman. He wants to see someone show Pillman some respect. Arn Anderson takes off his belt and is just about to give him a good whipping, and then they beat Arn Anderson up. And then Pillman hides. It's a
shit show. What did you
like-
expect? What did you
It's
expect?
literally like Year 9 drama where someone's just gone, they've just gone 2 points, go. And you've all gone, and they've gone, oh, and one guy's got his own thing, what he's trying to do. And they could have just fucking.
And Dave's taking his belt off.
Gaz is wanking.
Yeah. Same old drama.
I'm being whipped.
Said it was going to be weird.
Just edit it. That's what you're here
It's
for.
not the answer, though, is it? Just you talk about sex
Just
and whipping,
edit it.
and I just edit that. I can't edit.
Yeah, but the
sex.
whipping goes along with the whipping,
Yeah.
the belt whipping. The wanking bit, not
Too
so
much.
much.
Took it too far.
All right.
Did.
All right.
What did you think, Gaz? What's your thoughts on Sullivan?
This seems like it was just made up on the fly, as Sam said. They just went, go out there and just say anything you want, and then Arn will come out and he will look like a badass. Brian will look like a loony. I don't know what the fuck Hugh Morris was doing. again.
You know, that's right, guys. All they've done is told them their gimmicks.
Yeah.
They've gone, he's a loose cannon, he's an enforcer, you're a taskmaster, and he's humorous.
But
they've given him no story. So he's gone out and gone, ooh, and he's so frustrating.
Yeah.
The problem is,
I don't
though,
know.
is Arn Anderson can go out and look badass, and Brian Pillman could go out and look like a loose cannon. Kevin Sullivan hasn't got a gimmick. He just does weird things. So whenever he's involved, it doesn't make sense. There's no point to what he does or says. So
no, I know.
And he can't fall back on being mad. He can't fall back on being a badass. He just falls back on just being odd.
But he's not even mad. Like later on, we see mad on both the shows, like crazy mad, and Brian Pillman's been that loose cannon mad. This is just, even to me, Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman couldn't save this segment either. And they tried.
He's a weird little pathetic wanker, and the only thing he's got going for him is he's got a hot wife.
Yeah, Dave.
But Kevin Sullivan, however,
Oh dear, took the win out of Sam Sales there, isn't it? What did you do then, Sam? You looked
What
like you
happened
just got
there?
Furious. Then.
Oh, you burped.
Muted yourself to be furious.
I've been knocking back the love and hate, and I've got a bottle of wine to crack on with here.
If we switch to Raw, we have the Bodydonnas versus the Godwins, and Sonny's looking amazing. My expectation level for this match is absolutely on the floor.
Don't care. Was there a match?
Jerry says Sonny isn't above using her considerable assets to get them the tag titles, and Vince says
Not above doing anything.
it's like, ain't that the awful truth? Unfortunately, in the long run, isn't it?
Her considerable assets. So what's she, a property developer, and she'll remortgage her house to like put money into a championship campaign, or she'll release some equity in some of her NASDAQ.
Was that Midian?
Yes.
It was it? The guy whose gimmick was naked at one point later on in...
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll become naked Midian.
I always think of him as Phineas, weirdly enough. I don't think of him as Midian.
I always think naked Midian, obviously.
Yeah.
Michael Knight is his real name.
This is it really? Like Knight Rider?
Might be something else, but it's
Might be
definitely
something else. Brilliant. Love it.
I like to come in with confident facts.
And then
I'll edit that and we'll pretend
go,
you got it right. Just say loads of different names and I'll edit in the right one.
He's going to look it up now.
Midian.
Right, the Bodydonnas double team Henry a Godwin, but he quickly makes the hot tag to Phineas, who finishes off Skip with a slop drop after only a couple of minutes. Post match, they have a dance with Sunny. It's stupid, but she's a star, isn't she?
She makes that match. Her facial expressions, her over the topness. Yeah, I don't know if they've put. I know Sam kept talking about Skip's singlet falling down, but the other Bodydonnas, same thing. Their singlet straps kept falling. They hadn't measured them up properly, and just they'd borrowed someone else's out of the lost property bin.
Two things. Do you know who? Oh, it was Dennis Knight, by the way. And also, do you know who the other Bodydonna is?
I did, and I can't think of it is now.
Dr. Tom Pritchard.
Yeah, it's Tom Pritchard.
So it's something to Wrestle's brother, who is Brother Love. Brother loves brother, basically. The Godwins' little dance gave me flashbacks of my fucking school fate. We had to do a dance like that once. And my girlfriend from the big city of Southwood and Ferris turned up with her mate. And I was just about doing country dancing with little things on my socks.
How old were you? 16?
Oh, I got held back. No, I was in year 6. I would have been 18. Yeah. she was in year 7, so she was 12. So, but I mean,
really have stolen one gimmick.
You really got to stop stealing his gimmick, brother.
I can't help it.
So you mentioned it, and now you've just gone with it. Now
you set me up for him, don't you? Stop.
You set yourself up for it. Massively.
Is Sunny the hottest woman in 1996?
Yeah, unbelievably hot. Yeah. Unbelievably hot. She is
ridiculous.
Hugely stealing their thunder. She overshadowed everyone in the match
yeah.
by a mile.
Who gives a
I don't know
shit
what
about
it
the
is,
Bodydonnas?
but she has got it in spades.
Yeah, and that is actually
she's a
the
superstar.
thing, isn't it? Because let's not even go there. It's just something, isn't there? Something you could touch on. You could say it's got there's plenty of people out there with pretty face and nice bodies. Yeah. But Sunny has got that charisma, that like aura around her where you're just like, wow, my God. It's confidence, I guess.
Yeah, it just steals the show. She knows what to say, when to say it. She's got loads more awareness.
How to act as well.
Yeah, it's the awareness of where the cameras are and those moments, and she's got it. If we switch back to Nitro, we have Madusa versus Sherri. Sherri was actually doing an interview with Mean Gene in her street clothes. They're discussing her wedding with Colonel Parker at Clash of the Champions, that Madusa attacked her. They start the match. We get a
WCW, where the big boys in it should put it to big girls play.
Madusa with a suplex on the floor. They come back in for some kicks, but Sherri takes her down and goes up, but Madusa slams her off. Sherri rolls through for the pin after 1 minute and 52 seconds. As we read the same reports, Gareth, you'll know about this, but it's all kind of weird after the match. Sherri basically was refusing to do the job on this one, so Madusa knocks her out with a post-match suplex, which is a sort of shoot.
Did she?
So,
Yeah, because I was looking at this match, watching. She got suplexed onto the concrete, no sold it at all. And there was a point.
That generally means you're like been fucking had your shit knocked.
yourself in it, yeah.
And there was a bit there where I thought it looked like a UFC fight at the end. She's on top of the old ground and pound. I thought, Jesus Christ, get in there, ref.
Ground
That
and
takedown was
Sherri.
So that yeah, load of old bollocks. It's crazy. Didn't see the point of it either. But
Why were they feuding? Do we know? Was there a build to this feud? Did it?
I think this
Because
was
they
to
were
do
the
with the
only
wedding.
2 women on the roster.
Yeah.
Isn't it sad to think that Medusa's gone, or Alundra's Blaze, or whatever you want, has gone from WF, where you had like Paul Nakano and you had
All of her bridges.
done that to go to WCW,
And then some.
to wrestle Sherri.
To think, like, a few weeks ago, we had her doing the biggest kickoff of the Monday Night Wars of chucking the WWF belt in the bin, and you were thinking, wow, look at this. And then this is the first time we're seeing her.
It's like they had all that momentum. They went, what should we do? And they're like, whoa, chuck some water on it and then leave it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And when it's
But what
totally
I can't-
cold,
We'll let it
What I
simmer
can't
down
work
a
out,
bit.
though, is she must have known going over there. There is nothing in that WCW
money.
Women's Division.
They were writing big checks.
No, the weird thing is she's wrestling Sherri, and Sherri's in like a ball gown. She's just in like a.
She's in a
like
little
not
black
even
dress.
wrestling,
Did
wrestling,
no one
yeah.
else find, like, I'd never looked at Sherri as attractive because she was so pantomime and she always had paint on her face.
Bit
But
too
like
old.
here, she's got no makeup on. She looks quite natural. She's barefoot, little black dress. And I was just like, Sherri's kind of cute. She looks kind of cute here. And then we saw her knickers, didn't we? Outside. Did you see that? Well, obviously you did. Because in case you didn't, Bobby the
Paused
Brain
it.
Heenan.
Here's a photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby the Brain Heenan, like she literally went on all fours and had just come up and you saw a thong. And Bobby Heenan went,
Knocked her out of her shoes. Look at that.
yeah, we're all looking, mate. We're 18 to 35-year-old males watching, sitting in our
Bobby
bedrooms
being proper
watching men
lads,
pretend to fight, and a girl's just shown her knickers. We definitely all saw it. But I didn't pick up on the shoot fighting aspect of it. Or
You didn't notice that bit.
Go back and watch
No.
it. It's insane.
At
noticed
the
she
end. Oh,
I noticed
mate.
that she looked pretty, and that she showed her knickers.
When Alundra or Medusa did that kind of German suplex at the
Jesus.
end, it looked like it broke her bloody neck, mate. I tell you.
Jesus.
I
Yeah,
thought,
it was-
And then she slapped. So she was legitimately knocked out, was she, on the floor?
Apparently knocked out, yeah, from that one.
Because she slapped the crap
I'll tell
out
you
of her.
what, fair play to Medusa though, because she's got some power to take someone down like that.
Yeah.
Like, to whip her over in that way, but Sherri's
in
not
the-
a proper wrestler, I guess, in that sense. But
But I mean, I think Sherri was a proper wrestler. I just think
Yeah,
we
she
knew
was,
her
yeah.
from,
but
she was tough as hell. Like I wouldn't.
She used
doubt
to
her
proper wrestle
toughness.
matches, yeah.
can't
she
take
did,
a German suplex to the back of the head though, can she?
And then a ground and pound. Yeah.
Yeah, someone getting on top of her, smacking her about. If we switch to Raw, we get some hype for Bret Hart versus The Undertaker next week on Raw, which should be pretty amazing, shouldn't it? We then take a look back at Vader making his debut at the Rumble. We see him attacking the ref and Gorilla Monsoon. Brilliant. That beatdown still looks brilliant.
Going
Second time
back to
round,
Vader, sorry to cut across you, Dave.
You
at
go
the
back to Diva
Rumble-
Boy and Diesel.
At the Rumble, we had Vader time on his back again.
Yes, I noticed this.
So is it meant to be now, or is he just puts it on wrong every time now because he's a moron? What's the...
Do you
He's a
think he
moron. Someone
just
wrote on
turns
our
it
Twitter page that he did this about 20 times during his WCW.
Oh, okay.
Without doubt, I think you're meant to have Vader. Okay.
It looks better
For
on the front.
more often, if you're just going statistically or whatever it is, percentage-wise, he has Vader on the front and the back of his vest
Yeah.
on his back. But occasionally, for some reason,
The boobies
in
outlook
variances.
The boobies outlook ain't the one, is it?
I think
I'd
either
quite
way
like
would
it.
work if you stuck with it.
I'd quite like it if Hulk had his pants on back to front and he had the little bit of the ass and the
Well, he has
flat
his
bit at the
vest on.
front.
He has his vest on back to front, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
he
Those
does.
Matter, does
skits.
Doesn't matter, does it? Just rips it off. So we get Sam's favourite, Clarence Mason, is back and basically says,
Not only is the suspension of Mr. Vader unlawful, it's illegal, unconstitutional, arbitrary, and prejudicial.
he says Vader was just defending himself. Mason has prepared a motion to quash this legal proceeding. We then get a nice postal address where you can send your get well cards to Gorilla Monsoon too, which is sandwiched between seeing Doc Hendricks dancing around a bit of a dickhead with the Raw band. Which was,
So just to let our younger Monday Night Chores fans know, a letter is what we used to send to people before texts or DMing them.
It's like a WhatsApp, but it looks like this. Look,
Yeah, use a pen or pencil.
Absolutely unlegible.
Did
Gorilla
either of
Monsoon,
you-
did you notice the postal address was New York Zoo? Because he's Gaz, he's a gorilla.
Has he got Jimmy Hart out the side, banging on the cage?
I like
Taunting
that.
him.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I like that. Gaz has noticed.
I've done two funnies on this show now.
Yeah. How many have you done, Gaz?
Don't need to do funnies.
No, he had that little tantrum about not being able to talk about British Bulldog.
Oh, yeah,
That was
I
fun.
I can't. I thought this week I was the one having the tantrum. Sam was doing the funnies.
Don't. Sam will walk off.
Yeah.
Dave
no.
was
And then we'll
doing
ditch
the.
him. Don't.
I don't know.
It doesn't. If we switch to Nitro, we come back to the Giant coming out, and we hear.
The biggest of them all, where the big boys played the
And then out comes Macho Man. He's got Woman, Linda Hogan, Deborah McMichaels. They're all with him. They're all in their ball gowns. Was ball gowns like the sexy thing in '96?
I'm right.
Miss Elizabeth, she comes out in a bit more of a sort of rah-rah-y skirt, so she looked quite good. didn't
Is
she?
a
He's
ball
got the
gown
bevy
not
of bitches.
sexy, or?
It just seemed a bit too formal. I don't know.
I think going down the whole we're taunting Ric Flair thing.
Do you
I
reckon?
don't know. I don't know what you'd expect a woman to wear at a sort of a show like this. It's going to sort of wear leggings and a top.
No, I suppose not. I don't know.
I
what
mean, I'm gonna
Leggings
wear-
and a top.
I'm going to wear a ball gown in September at that wrestling show we're going to.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see
You're
that.
going to see it.
Good for the YouTube, wouldn't it? You in a ball gown. Go dressed as Bret Hart.
Yeah, but people think I'm Amy Winehouse when I dress as Bret Hart. So, I'll do it.
Well, fair point. In the ring, because Savage doesn't come out in the ring, Savage attacks the Giant with the belt, and the ref calls for the bell, but he doesn't start the match. This is a sort of like pre-match DQ, I guess, or non-starter, I don't know. But Ric Flair comes down. He also attacks Macho. We get a beat down. He gets the choke slam, but then we get a well-bandaged Hulk Hogan finally comes out to make the save with a steel chair. The Dungeon of Doom comes out. Hulk chair shots them quite weakly. And at this point, this is when Ric Flair goes over to the commentary booth. He woos incredibly loudly in Mongo's face for no apparent reason. He waffles on about 2 kgs for a bit. Eric storms off. Rick starts chopping the Giant. It's
that was
massively
brilliant.
chaotic to end the show. I loved it. I thought it was a brilliant end. It was madness.
I love crazy endings to Nitros. Ric Flair shouting "Come on" at Pepe was great. I mean, was he fighting the dog? Was that his plan there?
How
And
Taunting
Pepe
the
hasn't
puppy.
died of a fucking heart
I was
attack.
gonna, I
Ric
don't
Flair
know.
hasn't.
To be fair, yeah, I don't know. He did. Wasn't Bobby the Brain Heenan asking him to calm down because he was
Yeah.
going to have a heart attack at one point?
Yeah, he's going
And
for
then
it.
the fact that Eric Bischoff referred to Hogan as the red and yellow mummy, I thought I was going to piss myself when he said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy
Madness.
ending, always
Crazy.
good.
What was your thoughts of the show overall, Sam? What was your Nitro in a nutshell?
It wasn't very good, to be fair. I mean, Ric Flair having done a huge quantity of coke somewhere between the ring and the announce table was like epic to see. I don't know what he did, but to see Bobby Heenan, he was just like, I don't think he was telling him to calm down because I think he just thought he was going to die because he didn't. Did he make any sense? He just
No.
He didn't breathe for about 3.5 minutes.
yeah, it's not great. Hulk Hogan came out with one eye and kills the entire heel roster. So like we're like, oh, look at that, Hogan lost on TV. but it was a means to an end of, well, you're only going to beat me by putting a 6-inch heel in my eye and I'll bleed. Then I'll come out with one eye and beat up everyone that Macho couldn't beat up.
With the worst chair shots going as well.
I've literally written here, with the softest chair shots in the world. Yawn.
I'd hit my kids harder than that.
Flair brings it back up. And
madness.
Gloss over that, Dave, because he's talking about kids again. And then Flair comes out and chops the giant. He challenges Mongo to a fight. Mongo walks off and he's like, okay, come on. Brilliant. I'd love to have seen more Ric Flair on coke, really. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on a plane with him or anything like that. I wouldn't want to actually be in the vicinity.
Just from a distance.
Just on live TV.
Yeah.
Especially in WCW where there's no structure. And Flair's
scream and shout what you want.
Yeah, do what you want. Go and do what you want, Rick.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't just start fucking Pepe or something. That would have been awful. I'm just going to say that now. I wouldn't be supporting that.
I didn't think it was much of a show. I wasn't enjoying this week's.
No.
Seeing Hulk lose was the highlight, but the rest of it is the Dungeon of Doom are bad, Road Warriors are bad.
I think you had that juxtaposition. You had that beginning bit where Hogan lost, and you're like, bloody hell, Hogan's lost. And at the end, Flair brought it back up again with his craziness. But in the middle, it was such a lull. It was just myth in the middle bit.
If we switch to Raw, talking of crazy stuff, Vince McMahon is in the ring and he's introducing our acting president while Gorilla Monsoon out. It's only
Roddy Piper. What?
Yeah. And how happy was that cowboy?
Yeah, there was some.
He just got a cowboy wearing white gloves. Was just like he didn't know Roddy was going to be there, and Roddy was definitely his favourite fucking wrestler because he was just like
very excited. He got such a pop, didn't he? Hot Rod when he came out.
He just? It was mad. Piper comes out and he says,
"Does this make me your boss?"
Roddy runs down some of his career highlights and Vince asks us what he thinks of the current World Wrestling Federation.
A new generation of some of the toughest, greatest athletes I have ever seen.
But he says they're a little confused and he's going to straighten them out. He says there'll be no government shutdown while he's president. This is brilliant, he pulls some rules out of his sporran.
Rules? You never lived by rules in your life.
You know what? That's a heck of a point. We'll just put those...
All right, then. With that in mind.
Absolutely fantastic. His comedy timing there. Vince wants to know what the fans can expect from Piper as the president, and he says,
I love you, and you're in good hands with Roddy.
He ends the segment by saying everyone has got to pay the Piper and Vince is no different, and he lifts him up and he gives him an aeroplane spin.
Twice.
He pops him down and he picks him up and does another aeroplane spin.
So good.
I thought Vince would be furious at this, but he loved it. And also, we all know that Vince likes to go back for bars, doesn't he? And have like moves on. Gaz, what did you think of this little segment?
Well, what I liked was when Davey Boy come out with Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
No, I loved this Rowdy Roddy Piper segment. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was brilliant.
He looked young enough that he probably shouldn't have been a commissioner. He came out and I was like, because Roddy Piper's like certain guys consistently look the same, as we said earlier. Roddy Piper, sometimes he's got a pot belly and he's looking really shabby. Sometimes he looks tanned and and he came out looking good, looking like he could still go. Then he proceeded to age himself. I mean, I don't know if I'm just very sensitive to sort of things like this, but Piper proceeds to put himself over, which Piper always has to do, reminding all of us of the things he has done. But he made himself just look like a has-been because he's talking about WrestleMania 1 where he did something with Cyndi Lauper, and WrestleMania where he was with knocked out Mr. T, and then he was saying half the guys in the locker room were just down here when I was here at the beginning of WWF. That's not really what you want to do when you come out, because he looked so fresh and young, and he was only 42 here. I looked it up, and then he just made himself sound like a fossil by talking about 6 years in wrestling is just,
it's all the stuff they're trying to get away from. They're talking about this new generation because they want to get rid of, the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania 1 kind of stuff. They want to forget about that.
Don't come out and tell us how you were here in the 80s and like you're Roddy, because there are people in that crowd who probably have only got a vague idea of who Roddy Piper is.
But they do that Billionaire Ted thing with the huckster and the Nacho Man, shitting all over the old guys, and we'll bring out Piper from WrestleMania 1.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he'll hype up his WrestleMania 1 appearance. Yeah,
he'll tell us all this stuff he done in the 80s. No, and I loved all the stuff he done then. And I'm not a huge Piper fan. I think he had a very sharp spike, Roddy Piper, where he was absolutely amazing, and then sort of from now onwards, we're not going to see much good from Piper, other than the beer drinking contest that he done with Austin and JBL.
This was amazing, though.
This was the original loose cannon. I felt like it was Piper.
Of course he is.
He's fucking loon, isn't he?
Yeah.
God knows why Vince McMahon lets him out there with a live microphone, because God knows what he's going to say. It's brilliant.
Ratings, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, oh my days, it's only bloody Mankind next, isn't it?
Why is the sky blue? What happened to my ear? Why am I the way I am? And why are so many people so frightened of me?
Obviously, we know Mankind's going to go on to be huge, but this promo was brilliant, wasn't it? This is amazing, immediately an interesting character.
Yeah.
It is, but again, it goes back to what we said earlier. You had the fucking Bret Hart promo calling him a dummy, the Crybaby baby bottle bit, and then you've got this Mankind vignette. It doesn't make any sense. They're one extreme to the other. There's no.
This is very dark and gritty and like a sort of a horror film, like.
They show he's like he's mangled ear and everything.
Yeah, but why have all that earlier than have this character? I know he's still kind of a bit of a cartoony character, but have him so dark and brooding, and then but next week we're having a nappy match where
Doink the Clown. Yeah, I think it's that same cliche of you've got to have every flavour of ice cream for everyone, haven't you? There are kids watching it who just like seeing the guys come out with the defined gimmicks and look good on the poster, and then us guys want to see these real, like, has there been like a character, say Mick Foley is probably the most authentic, genuine guy who he's almost in the realm of method acting with Mankind and Cactus Jack. You look at the when Rikishi was the Sheik, or all these other characters, Nails, the guy in the convict suit. You knew really they were just wrestlers playing that character, but man, like Mick Foley doesn't, or maybe he does get enough credit for just like he's on another level, isn't he? Is what I'm trying to say.
Is he really deranged, or is he just so
I think
deranged?
he's just.
It's so hard to tell, isn't it?
I think he's a little bit deranged, and I think he's just extremely intelligent, and probably could have been a very good actor. I don't know, but. Yeah.
Have you heard him talk about when he psychs himself up for his matches? He listens to the same Tori Amos song over and over again.
Yeah.
Before his matches.
Yeah, and he just does lunges and does push-ups off a wall.
It's crazy, is.
Yeah. Because if he does a push-up off the floor, both his shoulders will just pop out probably. So
his
he
tooth
just
will
sort
fall
of pushes
through his
it off a wall. He just sort of over time, like his ear falls off and his tooth, and he just Vince McMahon kind of like shit.
He's like Death Becomes Her.
Oh, I love that film.
Just glue it back together.
Yeah,
but he has an air of legitimacy and authenticity, which definitely you don't get from not even a Kane or an Undertaker in a way, because Undertaker in this era couldn't do a 3-minute promo and keep that mystic aura of the Undertaker. Would say, oh, he is just a bloke. But Mankind's got that kind of weird husky voice, doesn't he? And yeah, thumbs up to Mankind.
I would say the one thing is I watched this promo and I want to see more of him. Not just because I know Mankind will be good. It's just like, this is immediately interesting.
Yeah.
A bit like the Goldust one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, well, this is something. And, we don't get a lot of stuff, so it's worth hanging your hat on the good stuff, isn't it, when it comes along. We then have Yoko Ono versus Shawn Michaels. HBK comes out. Vince goes absolutely fucking batshit crazy over him.
And here he comes. Watch this. Watch this reaction. A standing ovation. Here we go.
He loses his mind when Michaels starts stripping off. It's unbelievable.
He's so good. When he says, talk about resilience, talk about charisma.
I'm going to just put it out there now. These two are fucked, haven't they?
I reckon they're still fucking.
They've done something. Have you seen that video of Shawn Michaels Hall of Fame hugs Vince McMahon? And they hug each other, and they like either kiss each other on the lips for about 3 seconds or on the neck. And like the little meme I saw was, this doesn't look like a normal hug, and they're like proper rubbing it, like fuck yeah. It's weird. There's something weird going on there. And I know, Dave, you're going to do a rundown of the whole match anyway, but there's a point where Shawn Michaels goes to the outside of the ring, and Owen Hart steps back and puts his hands up. And Vince says, "You better raise your hands. What does he say? You better raise your hands. You better stay away from him." But his voice is like cracking.
You get away from my man.
Yeah, basically what he does. Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
This
but you're like, Vince, it's not real. Your boyfriend is okay.
It's real to Vince. Damn it, he knows what he's talking about.
He forgets. Love takes over.
We start this match off with Shawn does this little pointing thing where he points to Yokozuna and everyone boos. Then he points to himself and they all cheer.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you know
this
what?
is 1989.
The problem
Billy
is,
Joel.
he's a douche. He's got the crowd eating out of his palm though. Like literally,
what's worrying?
No one else is going to do that.
No, and what's quite worrying is I also booed and yayed when he did it.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, it's Shawn."
I thought it was good.
Yoko.
Yeah, boo the baddie. It's house show stuff. I get that.
Yeah, you lose a certain amount of perspective when you're in a building. We all have got carried away and caught up in stupid crap, which watching on TV is a detachment, isn't there? You're not in the crowd, you're not. But yeah, that whole sort of it worked at a certain time.
Yeah, I don't think who else would do it. Who else would you get doing that out there apart from Shawn?
Who
else would get that result? Who would get that kind of reaction?
I like to see Bret doing it.
No, it used to be a tag team thing. It used to be a tag team thing where the Nasty Boys would do it quite a lot, and they were so good at it. So there's a match. I think that might have been the opening match of Battle Royal at the Royal Albert Hall for Rockers versus Nasty Boys, and the Rockers go to the two corners, and everyone goes "Wah!" And then Nasty Boys do it like they're expecting to be cheered, and they like whoa, and they go back and forwards for about 7 minutes, and it's genuinely entertaining because of how they sell it and how the Rockers are like, "Now you try." But this is quite a serious match. I feel like Shawn should sort of be sort of on his toes, ready, sort of think. Well, but okay, Yokozuna was a monster a few years ago. He was like taking on the Undertaker. He was killing people. He was a world champion. And instead of Shawn sort of like stretching out and being like, I need to keep my wits about me, he's just going, yay.
But Shawn's not selling it as a serious match, Shawn.
No, because Shawn wants to go.
Shawn is he's above this, so why make out it's more serious? It's still entertaining.
I'm not saying I'm not saying this. I am saying Shawn Michaels definitely knows more about wrestling and ring psychology than me. 100%. He does. But what I'm saying is long-term investment. Do we want to see the plucky underdog who's like sort of is nervous circling the ring because he doesn't know how he's going to overcome this huge guy? Or do we just want to see him tiptoeing around like Marty Jannetty and do? Okay, that's great for the opening of the match, but then you set the whole tone of like, well, this guy's not a threat, is he?
But Shawn's not being the plucky underdog, though. That's not Shawn's.
No, this isn't.
No, he's being the Shawn Michaels who knows damn well he's going to go to WrestleMania and be the world champion.
Yeah. And that's what we want to cheer.
So
we want to, but he wants to be a douche, and we enjoy that.
I think that's what he's doing. His gimmick is I'm a prick.
Yeah,
that's his thing.
But we want to like a dick. We like it at this point.
Hang on, can we? Dave, I know you edit this show, but I just need a soundbite of you saying we want to like a dick.
But he does. That's what we want. We want that douchebag to enjoy it. You know, we want that kind of toilet humor, Beavis and Butthead thing, don't we?
No, I don't.
It goes.
I just want to see real wrestling. I like the technical stuff, Dave.
I
want to see Justin Thunder Liger against Hikaroshi Matoshi Madusa in a 600-hour technical submission match. That's the kind of wrestling I actually enjoy.
It's on AEW, isn't it? That's the hidden corridors. Anyway, Shawn slugs a way to start and puts Yoko on the floor. He goes outside and he stops to high five everyone in the front row as we take a break. And I'm guessing you hated that as well, Sam. Back in, Yoko misses a corner splash as Shawn follows up with a moonsault for a 2. Yoko dumps him out to the floor and gets put back first into the ring post by Owen Hart. And we get quite a lengthy nerve hold before we take a break. No.
Okay, so
is that a euphemism?
Yes, I like to keep my no. Literally, the camera shows Owen flick the Raw curtain back, and then he goes 1, 2, and he's at the ring. So the arena is
long strides.
Big arena, but how they've set it up for some reason. It's just
Owen Hart notoriously had really long legs. So
he did actually, yeah.
Jonathan Edwards.
Maybe they edited it.
Jonathan Edwards. We triple jumped to the ring. Is that what you're getting at? Yeah,
I was going to say Oscar Pistorius.
He wasn't a jumper.
Well, but he had them springy legs, didn't he?
Springy legs.
And those hands with guns on. Fitted into his hands.
Like a transformer. We come back with Shawn misses a flying splash, but he makes his comeback anyway. We get 2 flying forearms to put Yoko down. Shawn goes up to the top, but he gets caught in the corner. Owen runs in, he misses a spinning heel kick, and Shawn finishes it off with the super kick after 11 minutes and 44 seconds. Post-match, there's a bit of a dissension in the ranks with Cornette Stable all getting on top of each other, but they all kind of gang up on Shawn. But out comes Diesel, and Shawn do some sort of stupid old-fashioned boxer things to run him off. He has to ruin
that was on par with the fun that he sort of went.
That's the problem.
It means you're just shitting on the top heels of the company. He's meant to look nervous and like relieved that the people have turned up and like. But he's
how
just
dare
like,
you? Because there was a point where he did look nervous. He went, ooh.
Oh
like
yeah.
He was well nervous.
Cornette
maybe he was genuinely trying to defend himself when he was doing it.
That's his actual stance.
Guys. I better start throwing some hands. This is a shoot now, fellas.
Cornette, he gets on the mic and he challenges Shawn to a tag match next week with Diesel between Owen and Bulldog. I quite like the storytelling here because at least it's making some sense that we're setting up matches with a bit of backstory and stuff goes on. We end the show with Shawn and Diesel doing a sort of karate pose. My eyes were rolling quite hard at this because I thought Shawn was brilliant.
Because you were on the vinegar stroke.
And these, like, ending it like that is just, it's too far. He's got a point where he's a dickhead and I like him as a dickhead, and then he just goes too far into the realms of dickhead. So
hang on, you talking about Shawn or me?
Yeah. Could easily be both. Be both.
Despite all the cringy bullshit, it was nice and damn refreshing to see undoubtedly one of the best all-round performers in the ring. He's annoying at this point. He's growing his mullet out. He's doing a lot of cheesy shit. He's not really giving he's being a bit disrespectful, but you are still seeing Shawn Michaels in a ring on free TV.
I've got written down, seeing Shawn wrestle felt like a treat. Compared to what we usually get to watch, it was like, wow, we're seeing someone who's like on another level on both shows, like way beyond anyone on Nitro. Because I see Ric Flair every week, I see Hulk Hogan every week now. So seeing Shawn in the ring wrestling was like, oh, this is nice.
It's extremely unfortunate that they've put him against a Yokozuna who is in serious decline health-wise. Coming up in September this year will be the last TV appearance of Yokozuna on Survivor Series.
That's
and
mad.
Between now and then, he puts on like so much weight, and then it's not long after that he dies. Like Yoko couldn't do anything. He's leaning on the ropes. He's doing rest holds. He's like, it would have been nice to see Michaels come back and take on like, I don't know, even like a Sparky Bob Holly, or like just do like a poppy 6 minutes. But Yoko,
someone who's capable.
Because we could have seen amazing things with him against Savio Vega, like people you're not thinking about necessarily who are on the roster, or even Karma. I know he's knocking about.
But, but is Shawn going to want to come and wrestle Savio Vega and Karma?
No,
or
yeah,
does
you're right.
He only does he step in the ring with a biggest heel?
You're right. It shouldn't, but then he gets the biggest heel and treats him like nothing anyway because he does all his pantomime things. It shouldn't be up to Shawn who he faces. It should be up to the guy writing the fucking show. But apparently Shawn Michaels is sucking the dick of the guy who writes the show, so he can just do whatever he wants.
Same difference. What did you think, Gareth? What's your opinion on
I thought
HBK?
I actually really liked the match. I thought that what you had here, in a complete contrast to Nitro, which you had a younger guy, Shawn, making the... Because you look at Yokozuna, fought Hogan in, what, 93, 94, was it? At WrestleMania, when he come out and he beat Bret and then he lost the belt to Hulk literally straight away. Was that like 93, wasn't it?
So you're crossing eras, yeah.
But what you've got here is, I thought Shawn made Yokozuna look really, to be fair, for the guy he is, and he's probably about 3 or 4 years past his prime, made him look really good. He did make him look really good. That's the best match I think I've seen out of Yoko that we've watched so far.
Yeah, he made him look good.
Shawn made him look good. All right,
but
yeah,
not good enough.
No, not good enough. But then, who else is he gonna fight? He's the top baby face. Is he the top baby face in the company apart from him and Bret? Are they sort of vying for the top spot?
No,
at the
I'd
moment?
say he is the top baby face. I think they're spending no time on Bret.
So who's the top heel?
Well, this is the problem they got, isn't it?
You've got Camp Cornette in it, so that's Bulldog, who's lost. He's lost this week to Diesel. You got Vader, who's now suspended for beating up a gorilla. You've got Yoko, Owen. There's no one.
Guys, you're exactly right. What WWE is doing at the moment is, and we know they're gaining traction soon, they're spinning their wheels. Because if, like you've just said, who's the top heel and who's the top face, it's like nothing, is it?
At least you know Nitro are trying to make it Hogan. They're trying to push Hogan.
Yeah, I was going to say with Nitro.
Raw is like when you go to Pizza Hut for all you can eat buffet. And they're just about to close. And they ain't put no pizzas out, and the salad's all manky. I don't know. Like I don't just want some cheese pizza and some mouldy coleslaw.
Gareth, what did we think of the show overall? What was your opinion?
Edit that and make it work, Dave, please.
I'm cutting some of your
just edit
some of your racism.
Right?
Just cutting some of your racism.
No, leave the racism. I want people to know about that.
No, cutting that. I'll make it sound more racist.
Make me sound racist against coleslaw.
Anyway, coleslawist.
I ate shredded cabbage in salad cream.
Gareth, what did you think of the show overall?
Okay. I thought there was some really good bits thrown in amongst some crappy shit is the problem. You got the Mankind vignette was really good. HBK up to a point, exactly agreeing with yourself there, Dave. He can be a prick that's entertaining up to a point, and he's just a prick thereafter. You had some good bits in there. Roddy Piper I thought was fucking hilarious. But then you had crap in there like the Crybaby bit, the Raw band, the Godwins versus the Bodydonnas. And you're like, oh, it's just why, you're so jumbled all over the place. At least you know with Nitro it's going to be all fucking crazy shit.
It won't make sense, but it'll be exciting.
Yeah.
The problem with Nitro is that gets confusing, whereas Raw tries to be a bit more level, doesn't it? With less crazy.
I agree. Like steak and chips.
Yeah. It's like a finger buffet. I thought Raw just had. It wasn't as good as last week. I didn't enjoy it as much as last week, but you can see the quality of Raw's improving to what we were watching. And like for me, watching someone like HBK was an absolute mega treat out there because I feel on Nitro I've become a little bit maybe spoiled of watching these top stars all the time. So
that's
finally get to see Shawn was like, wow. Seeing Hogan versus Ric Flair is too much as a starting match because there's nowhere to go with it. Whereas I've ended on seeing a decent Shawn Michaels versus Yoko match, but it felt big because, wow, this is Shawn Michaels. I mean, like 3 weeks ago, he was retired because he got smashed in the head. So this was amazing to watch. So
yeah, you're exactly right. And I've had a 1 week turnaround, whereas last week I was saying, so what? Let's have Macho and Ric Flair in the title match at the beginning. And then already by this week, I'm like fatigued from it. It's like having chocolate for breakfast. It's like okay at first. You're like, oh fuck me, I'm just gonna have a dairy. But a few days in, like, it's just not good for you, is it? Like, it's not sustainable, and it's exactly with Nitro. But you need Brian Pillman. Yeah, you need in the opening match. You need Brian Pillman and Dean Malenko or Eddie Guerrero and whoever. There's a reason why there's structure. There's a reason why you have Weet-Bix for breakfast, this for lunch, and wrestling shows are no different. It's great for a while to go, yay! That's why I buy 2000 and whatever, 2001, 2002, it was just burnt itself out, didn't it? But
yeah, they do
Yeah.
try very hard to cram, all their big stars in every single week. There's no let up. It's just, we'll just bombard you with the
I
top
think
guys.
The thing with Raw, though, is we've said for weeks and weeks that it feels like we're not seeing those top stars, and we get to see them so fleetingly. So when we're actually seeing one and wrestle for 10 minutes plus, it is great because they're good. Shawn is good.
Vince is playing the long game. Vince is being like the strict parent of saying, like, no, we'll stick with this. And there will be a payoff. You'll end up understanding wrestling how it should be and being a good viewer. Nitro's like your grandmother, your kids' grandmothers. You know what they're like? No fucking structure. Just give everything. Let's just like me as much as you can. Just like me. I'll give
me
you
affection.
Flair and Sting at the beginning.
You want chocolate for breakfast? You do it.
Have it. Just fucking. I won't change your nappy for 7 hours or do whatever. Like, it's fine. So
Razor Ramon.
nappy bit was a bit personally, but yeah. Oh shit. But after a while, it just becomes like. There's no respect for it because, like, well, you're not guiding anyone, are you? So
No, I agree. You see, I do wonder what would happen if Shawn had gone over to Nitro. If he'd gone over to
they'd have
WCW.
wasted him.
But you can see
star.
looking at Shawn in this small sort of match against a guy like Yoko, you can see why so many wrestlers put him up there as their number one guy. I mean, he's a complete dick. But as a wrestler, he is just insanely good.
The thing is, he's a complete dick, but he will sell and give so much to Yokozuna. He takes that away by being a dick because he's Shawn Michaels, and at this point in his career, he's giving what he wants and taking away what he wants. But if he wanted to make him look $1 million, he could do that.
Yeah, he'd do that.
So, Dave, I've had the same sort of fantasies as you. I've read Shawn Michaels' book, and there was a point where he was talking to Eric about a little while after Hall and Nash went, and he didn't really know where he was going to stand as a babyface. He was in some sort of casual talks about going to Nitro, and we've all thought, what would Shawn Michaels in WCW be like? The easiest way to answer that question is: did anyone jump from WWF to WCW and become a bigger star and become more meaningful? Can you name me anyone who did? Did what? Earthquake, Big Boss Man?
You mean, would you say, I thought Kevin Nash was bigger in WCW than he was in
Hall and Nash. Hall and Nash. Absolutely.
Do you mean after the NWO sort of started? After that?
No, before, after, whatever. Just apart from Hall and Nash. I think Hall and Nash had the savvy about them and Hogan. Yeah, I would argue that Hogan was probably as big a star in WCW.
I don't think, but Hogan could go anywhere and beat Hogan. I don't think it would have mattered. Where he would have gone.
Who's the bigger star, NWO Hogan or late 80s, early 90s WWF Hogan?
Red and yellow. He's the bigger.
Yeah,
because my dad wouldn't know who fucking NWO Hogan is, but he'd know who Red and Yellow Hogan was.
Red, yellow, Tash. Everyone knows.
No, you should probably right. Yeah,
probably the most recognisable wrestler.
Yeah, I'd go.
Not as recognisable as Lex Luger, but yeah, no, I get your point.
You know, mate.
Sam, ratings.
Well, like we've been saying, I think that ratings tend to relate to the week before. So Raw this week pulled in a rating of 2.4, and WCW Monday Nitro pulled in a rating of 2.8.
Still close.
Yeah. Not reflective of these two shows. I would agree, though. I would agree. I would agree with myself.
I agree with myself.
But I think my opinion is agreeable to what I think.
Because I'm contradictory.
I agree with myself to a point, but I don't. Which brings us to our pops and our flops for the night. Pops and flops for Nitro, Gareth.
So, I'm popping on Nitro this week for Rick the Looney Flair. Wooing in the face of a small chihuahua.
Yep. 100%. Exactly the same for me. Perfect.
Amazing. And
your flop?
Flop was seeing the Legion of Doom. I'm not calling them the Road Warriors. The Legion of Doom coming out and, one of my favourite tag teams, and then just looking old and, didn't need to be booked that way.
No. Could have been so much more, couldn't it?
Yep.
By being so much less. Isn't that weird?
True that.
Poignant.
Bruv.
For me,
Sometimes less is more.
Yeah, shut up.
In the trouser department.
Where's that aggression come from? Do we need to have a private chat later, Kaz?
No, I don't fucking want to talk to you. Shut up.
My Nitro pop is Ric Flair. My Nitro flop was a match ending on a high heel shot to the face. Rubbish. Sam, your Nitro pop and your Nitro flop. Doesn't work for the
Listen
audio
up, boys.
podcast.
You might fucking learn a thing or two here.
My
My Nitro pop was... I'm not going to talk till he stops making noise. All right.
Okay. Feel free.
Davey Boy Smith versus Diesel, right?
Oh, yeah. When was that?
Good match. Good match.
He went that way about 6 o'clock.
Sam, Nitro pop and
yeah.
flop.
Let me pass on a bit of wrestling knowledge to you. Maybe you two could fucking get a little bit. My Nitro pop was seeing Sherry's knickers.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man. Like, I've never seen Sherry like that. I've never been attracted to Sherry before, but she came out. She was footloose and free. She was wearing a little black dress. She was natural. That's how I like my wrestlers. I like.
Are you attracted to her, though, because her name is an alcoholic drink?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
And and the second thing, she showed her knickers. Them two things together, guys. Any trap, you can even tell. We talked about traps before. You can tell me it's a trap. In there is a little bevy, and someone's going to show their knickers. But you will be electrocuted and have your head in a bear trap. And I'll just go. I'll take my chances. I'll go. No. He's actually. You will die. We'll see.
What was your Nitro flop?
Legion of Doom.
Oh, you're copying Gaz's notes.
They should have come out. I think, ideally, in my mind, they should have come out and killed the American males. American males could have recovered. They had enough momentum.
Poor Riggsy.
People didn't care about them so much that it was going to scupper momentum for LOD, but they were big enough that LOD.
Perfect.
Should have been more. It should have been quick.
Sam, what was your Raw pop and flop? Make it like a Legion of Doom squash match and quick.
My pop for Raw was level up on the production values. I really do feel like it weren't like the Raws we've seen. There's been pyro, the camera angles are better. You notice they've now lowered the lights on the crowd. Whereas before they were in university gymnasiums and fluorescent lights everywhere. Now it seems a bit darker and closed in. They're in a bigger arena.
Just to clarify, your pop for Raw is the nuances of the lighting and the crowd and the production values.
Well, I think what we call it in the biz is production values.
And your pop on Nitro was someone's knickers.
Well, Dave... Stop laughing, guys.
Right. It's funny, Sam. I'm sorry.
You're starting to piss me off. Right. Look, you can like girls' knickers and you can like nice production values. All right. It doesn't mean one has to correlate to the other.
That is a fair point, though. You
I like strobe lights. I like underwear. Okay. Kill me.
Sherry had strobe knickers on. Perfect. What was your Raw flop?
For decline of Yokozuna.
Gareth, your Raw pop and your Raw flop.
My Raw pop this week was the sound levels. They were off the chart. That was a good one, wasn't it? My pop this week was Roddy Piper and his loony antics in the ring with airplane Vince and just being a general crazy cat. Yeah,
can't go wrong. And your Raw flop?
It was Billionaire Ted segment this week. Yeah. It's getting very old. It got old, to be fair, the first episode, but I mean, just call it a day now, Vince. Come on.
Yeah, it's
I would say you're better than this, but you ain't.
Sadly, I've been copying your homework because my pop is the aeroplane spin on Vince from Piper, and my flop was Billionaire Ted. It's terrible. Can't Can't get any worse than that. It's too cringe for me.
No.
When you all like and dislike for same stuff, that is a very it's a very direct pointer, but for things they're doing right and the things they're doing wrong are like universally accepted. Does that make sense? Like if one person just thinks something, but if I think pretty much everyone would think for things that we thought was shit are shit, because we know everything about wrestling.
Premier wrestling journalists.
Well, I am.
Which brings us to what was the better show. It has been all Nitro up until last week, where Raw getting a clean sweep, making a little bit of a comeback, showing there is some life left in this old dog. It is 44-14, and actually it's Raw again for me. Piper brought a smile to my face. I hate saying it because he's a cocky idiot, but Shawn feels like the biggest star on the planet watching him there. So 44-15. Sam, what are you plumping for?
Yeah, it's Raw this week.
Yay.
Nitro was just I couldn't get a grip on Nitro. It didn't. It was just shit, wasn't
it? Gareth, where's your vote going?
Clean sweep across the board. There was enough good spits in this episode of Raw for me to outweigh
Raw was solid.
The crap that was in there, where there was too much chaos in Nitro, where it was a case of, as we've said earlier, go out. You're a disco dancing loon. You just go out and do something, whatever you want. There's no direction. No.
44-17. It's like Raw could actually win this. That seemed unthinkable. Who knows what'll happen?
You are listening to the Monday Night Chores podcast. Dig it!
You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or any generic podcast app. Also, YouTube. We're big on the YouTubes, and I think we would all agree a much more enjoyable way to view us, because Dave's editing skills are top notch. My face is probably, I'm going to say the most handsome face since the beginning of time. And Gaz has got some fucking thing about dancing in the rain and loads of W's. And I just can't say nothing good about Gaz. Like, just watch us on YouTube, put some black tape over the bit where Gaz is, and just enjoy it.
You can find us on Facebook at Monday Night Chores Podcast. We're also on Twitter at Monday Night Chores, and we're on Instagram at Monday_Night_Chores.
You forgot TikTok, but I mean, that's fine.
Do you want to just do everything, Sam? Just
well, I mean,
just go.
mean, I'll just do bits that you don't get right. I mean, I'm happy to fill in those gaps.
Yeah, but you think by just talking constantly at people is doing that? It's not. That's not how that works. That's not it.
Okay.
Gigi played him off, is it?
Yeah, exactly why he did.
Finally, it is a big thanks from the three of us. We're enjoying our journey into the 1996 world of wrestling and hoping you're enjoying it too. I have been your host, Dave Mack. It is goodbye from Gareth Wadland.
I'm off to rewatch British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith versus Diesel and then tell my wife all about it.
And to see you later from Sam Wakefield.
Tune in next week, because I think Gaz is fucking close to cracking. He can't take much more of this shit. I was hoping we'd see it this week.
It's like chipping.
Well, we're going to see it next week instead.
Until next time, it is UK Wrestling Podcasting for life. Bye.
Bye.
Why was you waving, Gaz?
Oh.
Got a wave for the YouTubes.
It's very wriggly. I mean, my dad's nearly 70, and he's. I mean, sometimes I just want to kiss him on the lips.